have an idea of what topics we're going to cover and what format it's going to be in. So, we're all set up here. I'm kind of just learning the ropes. We're in the Twit Cottage, which is actually my dad's, like, netcast network. So, that's what I'm doing it out of, and I'm trying to figure out all the technical things and all this stuff. But, so I am going to be doing a show called Abby's Road about teen issues and about issues that are going to affect the up-and-coming generation, because I think that it's really important to learn more about those issues. And I feel like growing up I've seen how kids in my age group and their parents and people working with those kids don't really know that much about what's actually going on, and don't know the statistics about these things that are happening, and don't know how, like technology is playing in, and how, the bigger, I don't know, all this stuff is, there's all these factors that have made teens' lives very different in this generation than the one before it. And we're growing up being raised by baby boomers and children of the 60s who have totally different morals than parents have ever had before. Maybe that's just me. We're in Northern California. That's where we're broadcasting from, so that's probably half of it. But I kind of want to examine what each of these issues is about. For example, issues like guy-girl dynamics and what that's like in this generation. Parental issues, getting along with your parents, fighting with your parents, and having to respect their authority. And then things like driving or drugs or sex and making different choices like that. Also, a big part of this show is going to be the college process, because I am beginning to learn as a rising senior in high school. This next year I'll be a senior, and I'm really figuring out that it's actually a very, very stressful process, much more stressful than it's ever been, in my opinion. And just really, it's evolved and changed so quickly. I'm sure, as everyone knows, since the Industrial Revolution, our entire world has just like changed so quickly that now we've gotten to a point where kids have, it's like it's all going really fast and it's all changing so fast that even I have a little brother who's, I guess, 2.5 years younger than me, and seeing him go through junior high is completely different than my experience in the same junior high school with the same types of friends, just because how those kids relate to each other has already changed that quickly. And when he's going into when he's applying to colleges, it's going to be, once again, totally different. So I just thought, I was talking to my dad about kind of interning this summer and figuring out something to do, and I realized that there's some sources that kids and parents and educators have that they can look at these issues and look at statistics and look at kind of analyzation of why different things are happening with kids nowadays. But I feel like the more sources they are for that kind of information, the better. And if we can condense a lot of that information, a lot of that news into a show, I think that'd be really helpful for people. And I know that I would like to see stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to be doing one show per week, and we'll bring in experts about these issues. Like, for example, I have not technically talked to her yet, but I don't, some of you may be familiar with Vanessa Van Petten of RadicalParenting.com. You can find her there, and she's written all these articles. She actually wrote a book when she was, I believe, 18 years old about, well, I don't know what the book's about, but she writes these articles about parenting and about issues that are affecting teens that are totally different from the issues that used to affect teens. So I'd love to have her in. She could talk a little bit about her experience doing counseling with like groups of girls and their friend dynamics and stuff like that. And so, like, for example, I'll have her in, and then I'll have maybe another guest in, and we'll have first an interview, and then hopefully some discussion about news items or about, I'm hoping to take calls in, so guest calls, and then we'll discuss those too. And it should be really good, just because I think that some of the guests are going to be very, very interesting people who have a lot to say about teens and a lot that they've learned about teens. For example, another guest that I was thinking of having in is Marco Moroni. He does not know that I'm hoping to have him in, but I am, and he's a high school teacher. He's a phenomenal teacher, and he has worked with kids forever, and I think that he's someone who's really seen that change that's been happening so quickly for teens and how they relate to each other. And he when he gives writing assignments and stuff like that, he lets the kids be really honest with him, so he knows a lot about kind of what's going on in that world. So we'll have people like that in. And then Brian W.M. Niles is going to come in hopefully 2 shows from now. And his company is TargetX at targetx.com, and they work with colleges to market to students, which is kind of a specific thing, but it's really interesting because he's been working in college admissions for years, and he's now helping the colleges portray themselves in a good light to the students and helping them attract the right students. So we'll have people like him in to talk about the other side, that kind of hidden, mysterious side of college admissions that no one really knows about because it's very kind of shrouded in mist for students. I don't know anything about it. It's so scary too, because now college admissions are just it feels like they're getting so arbitrary and just based on nothing, because it's like there's 80% of the kids who apply are totally qualified with great grades, good test scores, all this stuff. I mean, it's like, how do you get in if everyone's that qualified? So we'll be bringing college admissions directors in, which will be very interesting. And yeah, so those are the kinds of guests we're going to bring in. And then I want to have some other teenagers, some of my friends or things like that, in to talk with those experts, and then we'll just discuss, like I was saying. Let's see. We'll hopefully talk a little bit about social networking and how that's influenced our generation, because I think it's pretty clear that our generation is a very, a little bit egotistical, if you know what I mean. We have all these pages, we have Facebook pages all about ourselves with like thousands of pictures of ourselves. I mean, it's weird if you ask me. It's not weird, it's good, it works for some things, but I think it's important to discuss that and to look at how that's affecting the psychology of our generation and why we're leaning towards things like that, websites like that are so self-centered, or not self-centered, so focused around the individual. And then, let's see, so we'll be taking in calls from the audience. I also would love to get emails with requests for topics, because what we're going to do is we'll have, like I was saying, a guest in, and then that whole show, everything about that show will be focused on one topic, a more specific topic. So that way you can download the show that you're interested in, and you can just have a show only on that topic and things about that topic. So so please do send in ideas of guests and topics you'd like to hear about. My email address is abby@twit.tv, and I will get your emails there. I just got back from the beach, so it's a hard transition into a not beach setting, but that's okay. And then, speaking of the beach, my dad has stayed back at the beach house. He's still there, and we are going to interview him because, like I said, we're in the Twit studios, so I think it'd be interesting to interview him, since he is the connection between this show and where we're recording it. So, and because he's never really been on that side of the microphone. He's always been the one hosting, and so I think it'd be interesting to hear a little bit about his story. So I'm going to try to figure out how to technically transition it to him. Here, I'm going to switch the shot first. Let's see. There you go. Now you can see him. You still can't hear him. He's actually been in the corner the whole time. I just hid him and muted him, so he wasn't involved in the whole intro bit. So, okay. He is Skype 1. Hello?
Yes.
Ooh.
Hi.
Oh, that's loud. That's really loud.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm at the beach.
You are at the beach. Good.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna
I get 1 day off a year, and this is it. And calling me on my 1 day off.
That's not true, by the way. That's not true at all.
I do that.
So, okay. That was my intro. Did you hear it?
I did. It was great.
Thanks.